just so we have it for later. And I want to start with letting you guys know that this was by far the most difficult professional development that I have ever done, for a lot of reasons, but not the least of which is every time I thought I had an idea on kind of how to present or what to present, I realized that everything changed, and it really did. Every time I felt like I was just chasing something that may or may not happen. So the theme for today is Jeopardy, because none of us really know the answers or the questions, and y'all can see that screen, correct? Okay,
Yeah.
cool, thank you.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not a PowerPoint person. I'm usually just to do that to keep me online, but I found this, stole it, and if you want it, email me, I'll share it to you. It's really cool. So we don't know the answers or the questions at this point, and that was what made this tough, and that was why I went with the idea of the Jeopardy thing, because I feel like we're all just kind of waiting to see. So my goals for today are to get better prepared for 2021, whatever that is, whatever that looks like. How to handle the change. I feel like I have one foot out the back door trying to figure out what happens if everything shuts down. I feel like I really want to just charge ahead. So I feel like, and how am I going to stay sane? I want to build a network of support. That's always my goal in any of these. So as we talk and have discussion, you hear somebody that's around you, make sure you write their name down and reach out to them before, during, or after, and make sure that you're building your network of support around you, people that you can go to if you need something and have questions or concerns or what have you. All right. So, and then finally, I want to start with the plan of attack. I mean, some of us are starting, my wife's school starts August 4th. So if you don't have a plan by now, it's going to be tough for you. So I just want to make sure that we are building that to the point where you guys are comfortable. So again, disclaimer, everything I'm about to talk about could change in the next, it could change any moment. And that's what stinks. Because we could get in here and then in an hour, there'll be something that come out that changes everything for you or for all of us. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand that this was my best effort. I literally held off as long as I could in writing this just yesterday. And coming up with the plan, I tried to look across the state at what everyone was doing. Your bigger cities, your smaller towns, all of that. I even looked around us, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, Alabama. For those of you who don't know, Alabama just within the last 2 hours did a statewide mask mandate. So it ends July 31st, but if that gets extended, that puts you in a spot in Alabama. So I always try to look and see what is going on around us to kind of gauge what will happen in our world. So like I said earlier, the largest PowerPoint I've ever created, I stole it. I downloaded it. I literally Googled Jeopardy PowerPoint. And then my wife goes, well, I had one of those. So here are categories today: face-to-face, did you what? Uh-oh, we closed. Lessons, man, lessons. LOL at expectations. And truth that you can handle. And again, my hope is that you will come out of here ready for whenever school starts and whatever school looks like when it does for you. As I go along, please don't hesitate to ask questions, shoot them in the chat, what have you. I think I have it set up to where I can see everything. If not, stop me, fuss at me. I'm down with that. So again, let's just get into it. So we're going to take face-to-face for 200, and I'm going to use the worst Jeopardy strategy ever. I know how all those guys win it. Jeopardy, by the way, greatest show ever. I know how those guys win it and hit the hot spots and go around. We're just going to go column by column because that's how I built a PowerPoint. So face-to-face for 200, constant concern is the answer. And the question is, what does face-to-face education look like in the AVTF classroom in 2020, 2021? You're every corner. I mean, you're going to have to look around every corner. You're going to have to think ahead. You know, I'm sitting in my studio at the school now, and I'm looking around going, well, I can get by with 2 people in here at a time, but then I have to open and close doors. I could do 3 people, only people off camera. You know, it can't have them really present with a mask on. So that's what the constant concern is. You got to think about every step of the process and how you're going to attack it. I don't know what it looks like. I really don't. And I wish I did, because it would make our lives a lot easier in terms of, you know, how we're handling it. I don't know what your situation is going to look like in terms of what your administration is going to support. I talked with my principal the other day, and she asked me what I was planning on doing. And I said, alcohol wipes. And she said, well, how are you going to do that? I said, well, I give a kid one, I give them 2, and one for when they come in, wipe their area down, and another for when they leave, wipe their area down. And she said, and if they don't, you know, there's so much you can do. So I don't know what it looks like. And I do know that we need to start thinking now, and definitely be proactive in the situation. Now, here's the cool part about this PowerPoint, by the way. Boom. Now we're back to face-to-face for 400. Masks. This one's going to be an easy one. Matthew White, thank you, buddy. There we go. Masks. What's something that's used that's not just going to be for editing and graphic design anymore? I mean, it's going to be a part of our life. It really is. It's going to be something that we're going to have to fight. Not necessarily fight, but definitely want to keep our kids engaged in wearing the masks and make sure that they are they're aware. And that's going to be a tough thing because we don't know the messages that they're getting at home. We don't know the messages that they're getting from friends. But we'll talk a lot more about that in expectations later. But we're going to have to wear masks. I mean, I just think that that's going to be the most safe thing to do. It's going to cause issues. It's going to cause, it's another, to me, it's like cell phones. Set the tone on day one and enforce it and go from there. But I do think that that's something that we're going to have to do. So for 600 safety first, this one was literally a space filler. Should always be your motto. Keep it front of mind. If you see something happening, go ahead and nip it in the bud early and knock it out and make sure that that you let the kids know why. Let them know immediately. I tell mine, and I got in trouble with a principal several years ago because she walked in right about the time that I said, "I will hurt you to keep you safe." And that came from a child. We were talking about fire drills and shooters and all of that. And he's like, well, what if I just run out in the hall? And I'm like, you won't make it to the door. So safety should always be top of mind for you. And then, I knew this was going to be tough for me. The 5 P's of success. This is something to take away for today and move forward as you get into whatever preparation looks like for you for this year. That's how you're going to make it all happen. And the 5 P's of success are prior planning prevents poor performance. If you had a more edgier athletics, bless you. They had a 6th P in there, and we're just going to go with 5. So prior planning prevents poor performance. Make your plan now. Be proactive, not reactive. Talk to your administrators. Talk to other CTAE teachers. You know, if you have a computer science or a graphic design or something like that where they're using shared spaces, figure out what they're doing, talk to them, and go from there. So for $1,000 face-to-face, Family First Coronavirus Response Act. My wife's an educator, if you haven't already picked that up. And we were talking the other day about our situation. She teaches in one county, I teach in the next. Our kids could do virtual. They could do it in either county. We're not going to let them. We want them to go to school. But we got to talking about and kind of extrapolating what what an illness does to our family. What if one of us comes down with it, and how it impacts it. And this is the Family First Coronavirus Response Act. Is a way to allow you to protect yourself from during this time. It's not necessarily just for teachers, it's really for everyone, but it is a very important thing. And we're gonna kind of go through it. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but I'm gonna give you a cursory glance at it. So here's what it is. It requires certain employers to provide their employees with paid sick leave or expanded family and medical leave for specified reasons. And it's COVID. It's all COVID. So here's what 2 weeks up to 80 hours of paid sick leave at the employee's regular rate of pay. That's important. That's something that as we started talking about going back to school, a lot of teachers were like, well, if I get sick, what happens? 2 weeks, 80 hours of regular rate of pay. If you're quarantined, if the doctor says you need to quarantine, or someone comes to your classroom and they're sick and they're pretty sure that you have it, medical diagnosis, symptoms, any of that stuff, 2 weeks regular rate of pay if it's you. Digging deep, if at 2/3 rate for 2 weeks, if you have to care for someone, if it's a child, if it's a spouse, what have you, obviously that's going to be there. And there's a list of ways and reasons that one would get approved or not approved for that. So that's that. So 2/3 of your employees' salary for that. So again, that is the Family First Coronavirus Response Act. I am 100% certain that your administrators know about it and are aware of what needs to happen in that case. So did you what? Because this was what most of our students said when we went digital. They acted like they'd never seen a computer before. They'd never used a camera, though they could still post to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I had a couple of my kids on LinkedIn. That's how bored they were. They were on LinkedIn during the quarantine. So did you what? So for 200, your learning management system. At this point, I'm going to assume, and I know how to spell assume, that your system has a learning management system of some sort. So that's where you start. And you start with checking your class sizes. That's always the interesting piece. And I'm it's going to be a tough year for CTAE because people are going to go do their digital thing, and they're going to do something that may not require us to be with as many students, which I'll be honest with you, I'm okay with. I'm okay if half of my students decide to come back next year and not take Avtf because they're going to do digital. Now I have less to worry about when they come into the classroom. So start with your learning management system. Check your class sizes.
My sister must have forgot about it, and I can't find it.
Check your class sizes and make sure that you make a plan based off of that. You may find that you have smaller class sizes than are comfortable. The worst class I ever taught was 2. Like you would look and go, well, 2 kids, that'd be great. It was awful because they were super eager, but to do separate things. And it was not a lot of fun for anyone. It was a bad date, multiple days a week. So where do you start? Learning management system, learn your kids, find those kids who you already know, and go ahead and start planting the seeds of expectation with them. I'm hoping that if you know them well enough that you could shoot them an email and go, hey, I'm excited that you're coming. Just want to let you know kind of what to expect. And that's what I'm going to do once they load our rosters later this week, is just email my kids who I know and go, hey, here's the plan. We're going to rock masks unless you're on camera. We're going to wipe everything down. It's going to be super awesome. We're going to do all the same stuff, but we got to do some different things to make sure that we stay safe. And I'm going to couch it in the idea of just keeping schools open and in helping them to do the things they love to do. So start with the learning management system. The answer is cell phones, Chromebooks, and still cameras. This is how are you getting kids to work while they're out? I'm trying to remain optimistic. I'll be perfectly honest with you, trying to remain optimistic that we're going to begin in August and end in May and have school every day in between. But I'm also planning, I got a foot out the back door to go, okay, they could call me tomorrow and say it's shutting down for a week, 2 weeks, a month. How do I get them to do it? Set the expectation on day one. Go ahead and yes, most of us have at least 1 or 2 cameras that the kids are going to work with, but encourage them to use their cell phones. Build units based just on them using their cell phone or Chromebook or still camera or all of those things, so that when they get back home, it's native to them. It's not something that they're unfamiliar with. If I teach them, and I've always encouraged, I can't say always, recently in the last probably 5 years, encouraged teaching to use cell phones, because yes, they could use a $5,000 camera in my classroom, but what does that teach them when they get home, when they're not in my classroom? So I've always encouraged that. So that is something to really dig in on and get aware of, is to go ahead and use those things in your classroom while you have them face to face. All right, so headliner.app. This is a free online tool to edit audio and video. I found it, I can't say I found it. Our instructional technology folks did a presentation and had it. It is elementary simple. A line of graphics, a line of video, a line of audio. If you have a program that does regular podcasts and you use some distribution system, Spreaker or any of those things, you can pair it to those and it will automatically create little short audio file videos that you can use for social media. But headliner.app, and I hope I have it open. Let's see. I do. Now, if I'm smart enough to switch over to that one. So let's stop the screen share. Are there any questions before I dig into that? Yes, computer and mobile, headliner.app, Anna. And then Bill, yes, it is computer. It is both computer and mobile.
Hey, Tom, this is Chad.
Hey,
I had one quick question since we were talking about the Family Care Leave Act, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had a parent ask me, I don't know if this varies across the state, if this is going to be a district by district decision. And I had a parent ask me that says, well, what if, my kids go to school and then all of a sudden a teacher or another student comes up, they get sick, they test positive. Are they mandated to report that in some way, and then every teacher and student that had contact with that student are now made to stay home 14 days? Do you know anything about that?
I read through what the Department of Public Health sent out the other day. And I say read through is to be gracious with the amount of attention I was paying to it. I just felt overwhelmed while I was reading it. I have not heard, that didn't stick out. The thing that stuck out to me in that was, if a student is diagnosed and they are at school, the rooms, and it just says room, but we all know rooms, multiple, that student has been in should be sealed or closed for up to 24 hours and then disinfected. Semicolon. If possible, to close for 24 hours. So, I thought about that in my high school. If a student gets, let's say it's 2:30 in the afternoon and a student doesn't feel well and they go to the nurse and the nurse goes, you need to go home. Well, that's 4 classrooms at least that scenario plays out. I don't know what that looks like. I've literally talked with our principal daily about because we're working on kind of a communication plan about what it looks like here. And the answer is we're still trying to figure that out. I don't know. So yeah, that's a long way of saying I don't know. But I do know that the Department of Public Health put out stuff, and the DOE shared it on their social media if you want to go check that out. Yes, Anna, it is a web-based app that you can use for anything. Considering going on strike. I haven't heard anything about strikes, Kristen. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. I have heard people just saying, hey, look, I got to figure it out. I'm just not, I got to figure it out. So, but I haven't heard of any outright strikes per se. So let me get back to here and share headliner. Here we go. So this is, oh, don't look there. There we go. Headliner. This is the website here, and tons of stuff you can do. It's made for quick, easy share of audio clips, but it is a pretty good video editor. And again, there you go. It's free for 10 videos. So 10 videos a month are free. After that, they put a watermark on it. Again, it's a watermark. You're using their stuff. It's the least you can do if you do more than 10. You can do up to 2 hours, 2-hour videos. And I wonder if it left me logged in. Let's see. It's really quite simple. Didn't. Let's see. By the way, that's my email if you want it. I'll have it again at the end. All right, so here is what the inside of Headliner looks like. Really, I mean, you can take these templates, you can create Instagram stories, you can do whatever. The Instagram, I'll just click on that because that's where my mouse was. Really simple editor. You just drop in clips, media, that would be your background pictures, what have you, video, audio, it's all drops in right there. You can cut, you can, you can trim, you can do all of that. The thing is, it's 10 videos a month. That makes it a little bit, if you're trying to do something for a student project and you want them to do 2 or 3 videos a week, you may have to go pro. I don't know what the rates are. Let's see. Headliner Pro. I don't know. We'll have to look at that later. But that's a good place to start for a basic, simple, easy editing system that is web-based, will work mobile, Chromebooks or all of that. Nope, wrong line. All right, WeVideo. Let me share. 10 videos a month per user email, $13 a month for pro. Thank you, Daniel. Let me go back to here. The next option I'll give you is WeVideo. If you haven't heard of WeVideo, it's super simple, man. You just gotta you just kind of make it happen with WeVideo. It's free. There are ways to do a district-wide. I know Adam Logan in Walton County has one district-wide, and he can go in and see what his kids are doing, see how much time they've spent, all of that stuff. So if you're looking at another online editor that you can go in and monitor, and I believe they announced today or yesterday that they're now doing cooperative editing. So you'll be able to edit with your kids, or you can go in and show them and make some tweaks and that kind of stuff. So WeVideo is another option. It is web-based. It is really quite a simple tool. So, and then playposit.com. I fell in love with playposit.com. I used it as a video-based learning management system. And if you did Camp T&I earlier this summer, you used Playposit. And I already checked with Carol to make sure I could pick on her, because I'm going to pull up her grade book. And you guys can see the Playposit screen, correct? It's white. Oh. Okay, thank you. So let me just come over here to gradebook, and my computer is not happy right now. Perish. So I can pull up Carol, and I have a quick glance. And Carol doesn't have a lot in here because she attended every live session, so she didn't have to do the on-demand. So here it is. What's that?
Okay, it came up. At first
Okay.
we weren't seeing.
Gotcha. So it's, you know, you can see assignment by assignment, but then you see 100%. What I can do is open this out and I can see what Carol's score was. I can see how much time she spent on the videos. And if your kids, I forget who it was during Camp TNI, somebody opened it and walked away and then their computer shut down and their kids got, you know, whatever. And it showed that they watched like 14 hours for a 30-minute session. So the way it works is you create what are called bulbs. And I did this one earlier just as I was testing it. So I'm going to open it. Actually, let's just do this new one. It's really quite simple. It's free for up to 100 bulb attempts a month. And then it's $140 for the year for everything unlimited. I just went ahead and bought it because I'm going to use it. I used it for TNI. I'm going to use it for my stuff next week. And then I'm going to use it all school year. So you create your videos, you can upload it to PlayPosit. That's a different fee. I just upload it to YouTube and then bring in the YouTube link. Camp T and I. Boy, this is scary. Yeah, let's just do, I don't know. Let's see, people in the waiting room. But you can search, you can do these different sites, really quite simple. Let's do this one. It says Disney, hopefully it's clean. Yep, looks to be. All right, so you have this, you can come in and customize it. And this is where the really cool part of this is. So you can customize, you can add captions, you can do all kinds of stuff, hit done. Now you have your video, but the really great part for us as we move into some sort of digital blended learning, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you that you should probably, I'm going to do this for my face-to-face and completely buy into the flipped classroom thing, have them do the assignments before and then go from there. So I can add a video. So there it is. Now I can add interaction points, multiple choice, free response polls, whatever. So I like to do this one when I've done it with the kids. Done. So now when they see it, it'll ask them what time it is, and we'll add another one here. Let's see, add interaction, poll, which is better, right, left. Done. So now that bulb's created, and you can create as many of those interactions as you want. You can give them point values. So if you want to make sure that they're truly engaged and truly getting it, you can do that. And then now, I'm going to review it, save and exit. It takes just a second. So now I have this, and I can come in and preview it so I can see what the kids see. Okay, progress. It works great with Google Classroom. It also works well. I've heard it works with Canvas, but I haven't used it with anything else. So time is 1:51, and that lets them know that I know when they started the video, and we can go from there. So continue, and it plays, and then you come down here, and then I have it set for this example to be able to fast forward, but you can't typically. So submit and continue, and now it's back to it. So now if I go back in here, I can look and see. Back in, I didn't assign it. So it was in preview mode. But if I'd assigned it to a class, I would be able to go in and get those responses per student or as the class for the poll, that kind of stuff. So, and what you can do with the poll is, hey, would you like to make a short film or a commercial? Or would you like to do this? Or do you want to do that? Or go ahead and get those things before the kids get there so that you know what to expect. So lots of stuff you can do there. Again, PlayPosit, PlayPosit.com. It's what I'm going to use. And you don't have to create the content. You can just, like as you saw, just go to YouTube and get it. But that's a great place to start. If you, like for me, I'm pretty particular about the way I want them to do things or the way I want them to learn things. So that is what I'm going to do as I move to a full kind of blended learning class. So let's go. Any other questions?
Yeah, Tom, is that a installed program, or is that something that's totally web-based?
Web-based. It is web-based. So you can run it on anything you can get on the internet with. I actually pulled up checking not attendance but performance during Camp TNI on my phone. And the great thing is, I'm trying to think how to say this. I had someone ask me, someone didn't do everything they were supposed to, and sent me an email and said, hey, I did these things. And I went in and they hadn't. And it was easy to just send a screen capture and go, here's what I've got. Makes it really, really easy to kind of protect yourself in those cases. Is there a limit to the length? No, Bill, I don't think so. Marlena, I don't know about ads. I don't use them. I use it. What I'm going to do is similar to what we did for TNI, and I'm going to create the content or custom farm the content and go from there. So I haven't seen any ads play. I think it does strip them because I haven't seen any.
Setting up the class, Tom,
Uh-huh.
are you getting a code to give the kids, or did you have to place all their emails? How was that?
There's 3 ways you can do it. You can put them in by hand. If you have one of the learning management systems, I know for sure Google Classroom is who it's paired with. Let me get out of this. And the other is you could send them an email. That's what I did for TNI, was send an email with a code. And there was only one other person who struggled with it, but I don't think that was an issue. So it integrates with Blackboard, Canvas, Desire to Learn, Edmodo. I've never seen that other one. Kaltura, Media Amp, Google Classroom, It's Learning, Moodle, MediaSite, TED-Ed, Vimeo. I mean, it kind of runs the gamut there. Zoom, you can actually record your stuff through a Zoom session live in there. Yeah, it's craziness. So lots you can do inside of that. All right, so boom, and let's go back to Jeopardy. Okay, so we're closed. KISS. Most of the teachers that I talked to as quarantine happened that were pulling their hair out, that were getting upset, myself included. I will put myself in that category, that I was getting upset. We're trying to do too much. We were trying to maintain our often self-imposed expectations. We're trying to maintain those while we were away from the kids. And keep it simple, stupid is what KISS stands for. If you've never heard it before, it's really going to be the way that you stay sane. I was the same way. I mean, I was still trying to do a daily news show. I was still trying to put out 8 to 10 minutes of content a day with the 5 or 6 kids who are actively engaged every day. I ended up burning those kids out. And then I went to a weekly show, and the shows got better. The kids were happy. So keep it simple. And again, keep your foot in the back door. Keep this in mind, that if it happens, you're going to have to flip a switch and go. And we may see it coming. I never thought on March 13th that would be the last time I saw those kids. So keep it simple. Know the play. I'm a planner. I love to plan. You have to know what you're going to do to keep it simple. Like, I know that if the kids that are going to come into my classroom, they're going to get a different experience than those who try to do it all online. The online options, especially what I teach, there are not a lot of online options about broadcasting. There are not a lot of online options about sports. If they want to make films, there's lots of options. If they want to do those things, there's a lot of options. So, you got to know the play. And for me, it starts, I am a reverse engineer. If I want the kids, like at the end of first year, I want them to be able to make a jam up news package. So then I break down the different pieces going backwards to how to set up a camera, literally going backwards. So you got to know the play and how you're going to be able to produce that. My lesson plans that I'm working on now, I'm writing in 2 columns. I'm writing in everything is good. Uh-oh, we closed. Okay. So that's how I'm writing everything, trying to figure out how best to do this. Will it work? I don't know. Call an audible. Be prepared. Be prepared to call an audible. Be prepared to go, hey, we're not going to do a daily show. Excuse me, we're going to do a weekly show. Or, hey, we're not going to do shows at all. You're going to have kids who don't have internet access, especially in more rural areas. When I moved out here to Morgan County to teach, when I found out the number of kids who didn't have internet access, I was blown away, because to a lot of us, it's there. It's not an option. It's not something we think about. It's a part of our everyday life. So be prepared to call an audible. Have that foot out the back door of, I got to get out of here and figure out what I'm going to do. Go ahead and do that now. Protect yourself. This is the most important thing this year. Most of us didn't do anything during the summer. We didn't have that unwind time. Spring of 2020 was totally different. It was completely stressful. Summer hasn't been better. The decompression time. Jason and I were talking just as I got on. I just shut down. Like, I got a report from, this is embarrassing. I got a report from Epic Games that last week I played 45 hours of Fortnite. I shut down. I did. But, it is what it is. Protect yourself. That's how you're not going to go insane. That it really is. You're going to have to find those things. And I'm going to go ahead and just skip to the $1,000 one, because I think this is the most important thing you can do. It's tough. There are going to be times where you just need to unplug, because I want all of you guys back in 21, 22. And if we attack 2021 to thanks, Daniel, if we attack 2021 the way we did 1920, we're all going to be burned out. It is very tough to unplug, Sherry. I agree, but it doesn't have to be for long term. It can be an afternoon. For me, I don't know, Sanders. Top tens mostly. For me, an unplug is a Sunday. It's a Sunday where I don't Facebook, I don't social media, I watch movies. I'll get into Netflix and turn off all of my alerts. Like right now, I took my watch off, so I can't get those. I took all that, and that's the most important. No checking email after 6 is a good thing, Melanie. I say, see, for me, it's the opposite, because if I don't check emails, I can't sleep. I have to make sure that I know what I'm getting into. But yeah, definitely go for walks, all of those things. The hard part about quarantine was gyms shut down, and restaurants shut down, and towns shut down, and you couldn't just go do. So make sure that you unplug. I think it's of utmost importance that you guys maintain your sanity, especially if it closes down again, because we kind of know what to expect. But in my conversation with administrators across the state, the expectation on the students are going to be different this time. They're not just going to go check. They're going to go, all right, it was coming. So there are going to be those fights that you have with kids to get that kid from a 68 to a 70. There are going to be those things this year and they're going to be more difficult, because it's not like that kid has to come to your classroom every day. You're going to have to hunt that kid down and that kid's family down. Wow, it sounds like a murderer. But you're going to have to, and you're going to have to protect yourself. And that's enough on that soapbox. So lessons. This is where it gets good. The $1,000 answer is super amazing and awesome, and I think it's going to change some of your lives. Plan what you know. How do you even get started? Plan what you know. Right now, you know your situation. You know whether you're blended, you know whether you're face-to-face, you know whether you're face-to-face and online, you know all of those things. Melanie says, nope, I don't know anything. But you know something. You know your basis. Start there. Start with what you know. You know you're gonna have to teach video production. Go with your goals because you can't call an audible till you call a play. So plan what you know, and then because know what you planned. So if something does happen, you know what you planned. So if you have that plan, you know, for me, it's that AVTF 1 news package. If they're in class, I can teach them cameras, I can teach them lighting, I can teach them microphones, I can teach them composition, I can teach them all of those things. My next step is, how do I translate that to a completely digital setting? All of my students have a Chromebook. So they can, and the way that our county is doing it is they're doing USB flash drives so the kids can get video lessons. Well, the kid can turn that flash drive into a storage unit for me. So make sure you know what you're planned. So teach them what I said earlier: cameras, cell phones, Chromebooks, laptops, whatever they can film with. The best camera in the world is the one you have, period. If you don't have a camera, doesn't matter. You can have $1 million setup that's in your office, but if you're trying to film it at the school, doesn't do you any good. So make sure that you know what your plan and then how to get there. All right, face-to-face plus digital. I think this is where you have to start for your plan. So plan what you know. Plan your face-to-face and also plan that digital component. Make a 2-line plan. Here's what it looks like if I'm digital, or here's what it looks like if I'm face-to-face. Here's what it looks like if they call tomorrow and say we're not going to school. Keep that in mind. You gotta be able to plan. You gotta be able to do both. You gotta, like I said earlier, as optimistic as I'm trying to be, I don't think we're gonna make it continuously. So that's just mine on that. And then face-to-face plus digital plus paper. This is something I learned. How do you teach a kid how to make a news package on paper because they don't have internet? It's tough, but you can teach them how to write. You can teach them to, send them basically a blank storyboard that says, hey, compose this. If you were going to shoot this, show me what your B-roll would be. Show me what your stand-up would look like. Show me your graphics. Show me all of those things. It's possible, but that's where, that is, after you get the minimum of face-to-face and digital, think paper, which is it's a challenge. It's almost overwhelming, to be perfectly honest with you, in that I don't know what I don't know where to stop. And I'm sure that some of y'all feel that way too. Of how far do I plan? How much do I plan? Do I plan the whole semester? Do I plan month to month? I don't know. I really don't. And then this next one is pretty cool. Some of you guys have heard of this before. Learnerpower.com. Pasha this is an answered prayer for a lot of us. And Pasha, I would do a disservice if I tried to talk about it. You want to take a minute or two and talk about Learner Power?
Sure. How is that 1 or 2 minutes? How long should I take?
Man, we're here for another hour. So, not the whole hour. I still got, however many slides left.
Do not give Pasha an hour, please. He will take it.
Let's go with 4 minutes.
She doesn't know me. She doesn't. I don't know who that person is.
Let's go with 4 minutes.
4 minutes is great. Hi, folks. Good to see everybody. As you know, Learner Power is 900 short online tutorials that teach 100% of the Video 1 curriculum. It's all a bunch of short videos. There's also 10 tests. There's 2 final exams. There's handouts. There's everything you'd need. I built it to be used in a face-to-face classroom. I did not intend Learner Power to be online only. I built it 7 years ago thinking it was just for a classroom, and you all know the reason now why I did that, because online only learning stinks. It's not a good way for anyone to accomplish anything. But if you have to use it for online, then there it is. You can just give the students the assignment to watch the tutorials and take the online tests and do the assignments and turn them in. But what most people do is they pick and choose just bits and pieces of the Learner Power system. What the vast majority of teachers do with it is they assign the students to do the tutorials that end in tests. They use those test scores as grades in the class, and then they assign video projects however they would assign video projects. We all do video projects differently, and all of you are probably teaching video production because you want to do projects. The good news is if you have your students do Learner Power, then they can learn the objective stuff, the rule of thirds and the difference between a PVP versus a POV. And if you let your students do the online tutorials and take the tests, then they'll learn all that stuff on their own. They'll ace the final exam and their test scores will be fantastic. And you don't have to teach any of that stuff, so you can spend all of your time doing the projects. And like Tom said, that might be individually communicating with every student. Well, you don't have a camera, so you're sending me storyboards for your video. You don't have lights, so I'm not going to judge your lighting, but you at home have all this stuff, so I expect your video to have this and this and this and this, or whatever it is you need to do. And what I'll do now, I'm going to respect y'all's time. I'm going to post in the chat a link to a description of how to use Learner Power. And I'm posting that in the chat now. That document right there is about 19-page description of everything that's in Learner Power, what to do with it, various descriptions of strategies, what you might want to do, links to the various websites, and a description of each unit and what's in each unit. Your students would need high-speed internet to be able to use this stuff. And a few of the lessons are based on Flash, and they'll get messages saying, Flash is out of date. Why do I have to download the Flash player to use this website? Sorry, when I built the website, Flash was a big deal, and I haven't had time to update it. I see Lewis is in the room. He's been using this. Robert has used it. Lots of teachers, thousands of students around the country, around the world have used it. It's there. Is it as good as face-to-face? No, it's not. But if you want to use it as a supplement, and it will work for all students, and they'll learn video production, especially if you just give them the objective parts, and you can still teach them the face-to-face, how to make a video project using your equipment or however it is you're doing it. So it's in the chat. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, buddy. And Pasha, let's talk about the tests real quick. I put it in there, but it's better coming from you. You typically charge for those?
Yes, Learner Power has been a commercial product for years, and sorry I didn't mention that, but I've made it free. Everyone can use it for free from now on because of COVID. It'll probably become a commercial product again one day, but during COVID, when all of us need online lessons we can use, I can't see charging that. And the website, the tests are password protected, but that password is now public. Thousands of students nationwide know the password. There's nothing we can do to protect it anymore. Those tests are just out there for everyone. If you've got to have students taking the online test at home, you're just going to have to let them report the test grades and handle that however you want. Usually we would just have students take the test in class while we're supervising, but if you have students at home, just give them that password, let them take the test and work it out however it is you would work it out. This is not a perfect world we're living in anymore.
Thank you, buddy. All right. So back to PowerPoint City here. One of the biggest things that when I sent the email out earlier this week about kind of trying to gauge everyone where they were, expectations were the biggest the biggest thing I got back in terms of feedback. And it's important, but here's where you start. Get on board with your admin. I walked into my principal's office and said, hey, so if we do this online thing again, how are we holding the kids accountable? She said, the same way you would if they were in class. And I said, okay. She said, we can't do that. We can't do that again. We have to make sure that these kids are actually learning. So step one is get on board with your admin. And then write down what your expectations are. And again, 2 columns, face-to-face, digital. Think about the scenarios. What are your expectations? Obviously, we learned in the spring that we probably have to lower our expectations. Write that. If your expectation, for me in the spring, because I'm an overachiever and I make stupid decisions and commit to things that I shouldn't, I did 3 class meetings a day. That was dumb. 10, 4, and 8. That's dumb. Shouldn't do that. And I was chasing the kids as opposed to having them come to me, and that was an adjustment for me, and that was something that I learned from. I did have one young lady who literally showed up to all of them, bless her heart. But I did get to see her horse and her dogs and her little brother. But write down your expectations. Let everyone know, or let you know. Start with you. What do you expect realistically? And then set them on day one. When the kids walk in, that should be what day one is, or when the kids sign in, whatever your first interaction with the kids. If it's an open house, set forth those expectations. Tell them, here's what we're going to do. You're going to learn this, and here's how we're going to do it. And if face-to-face doesn't happen, we're going to go digital, and here's what it's going to look like. If you have that plan now because you set your expectations and you came up with that plan and all those things we talked about in that last category, then you're going to be in a better situation coming December or May or both, depending on what your school calendar is, when it comes to having conversations about performances. You got to set those expectations now, and set them for yourself before you put them out there. Set them for you, then talk to your admin. Bend, don't break. These kids, I listened to a school's town hall meeting yesterday, and it kind of broke my heart because I realized that in a 7-day week, the kids in this county are going to be at home 5 days. They're coming to school 2 days. They're out of school 3 days. Their schedule alternates, what have you. We don't know what their home is. For a lot of our kids, school is what home should be. It's a place that's warm and dry, and people care about them, and home is not. So we got to be careful when it comes to those expectations. And now when we know those kids, we know our kids, or at least I hope you do know your kids who have those situations. So you're going to have to be, you're going to have to kind of waffle a little bit, but don't sacrifice yourself. Don't just let a kid slide because it's a difficult conversation. And that's where that bend, don't break is. And, have conversations with your kids. If a kid's having a problem in August, they're probably going to have, they're probably going to have that same problem in December. So in December, if you haven't had that conversation, you go, well, you haven't done anything since August. I'm sorry, but that's a you problem, not the kid problem. Yes, Melanie, DFACS has been through the roof. And the spring showed a lot of the bad. I'll just put it there. A lot of the bad in our world. Sorry, Michael, I just saw your comment. We'll get to that in a moment. Bend, don't break. Set your expectations, but don't run from them. Make sure that you're holding true to what you have. And then this was something that our principal used regularly in the spring: grace over grades. Again, we don't know their situation, and I'm hoping, for me, I'm a relationships guy with my kids, and I'm hoping that in this time I can build relationships with them so that, I know what's up, so that, I don't want a kid to fail because they're in a bad situation out of their control, and then me lose them for the year or for the 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. So definitely show some grace over grades. So we'll pause for a second to answer any questions. Let's see. Michael, can any of those be Dropboxed? I think, Pasha, the turn-in can be any format, correct, for video projects? Yeah, they can be any format. So they can get them to you however you can. Is there any other questions that I missed? Is there a limit to the length? I got that one. Any other questions as we kind of go forward? Can you post this PowerPoint? Yes, I will. I will email all you guys. Yes, Melanie. A lot of again, we don't know the situation for these kids, and that's what that's what really concerned me as I um, worked through how to just work through other teachers, and I was talking to teachers, and they're really upset and really frustrated and really um, unsure about what to do and what the grades are, and they were trying to maintain that classroom expectation, and you can't, and that's something that I really want a lot of people to understand and remember, is that you're going to have to do that. All right, so no other questions? Cool, we'll go back to the Jeopardy board. Truth you can handle, it's all going to change. It's all going to change. In the now 1 hour and some change that we've been on this call, something's changed in your world. I mean, it really has. Some of your school boards have had a meeting, and they're going to change something or require. It's all going to change. So if you know that going in, hopefully that relieves some stress. I mean, for me, that does. It definitely helps me to understand that, you know, I don't really know. And so if I have a plan, I can go from there. 2021 will be great. What is said no one ever. Melanie's doing her best to try to make that happen. I really wish I could I could say that. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be an opportunity to learn and grow and challenge ourselves. But if we go through those steps that we've talked about and communicating with our admin to figure out what their expectations are, to set forth our expectations, to come up with a plan, go ahead and plan your audible. Okay, go ahead and figure out what face-to-face looks like, what digital looks like, what paper looks like. If you can figure those things out, 2021 may not be the worst year you've had in your career, okay, because you're going to go in maybe a lot less stressed. Yes is the answer to this one. You will make it through. You will absolutely make it through. You will survive. But you're going to have to take care of yourself. You're going to have to protect yourself, like we talked about. You're going to have to unplug if it goes all digital, if it goes to, and some of the people that I've talked to, their county's expectation is that they're going to have the face-to-face class and the digital class at the same time. Yep. Protect yourself. You're going to make it through. Okay. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be probably not what you signed up for when you signed up to teach, but you'll be okay. I assure you. Oh, hit that one already. Inspirational words. Oh, wrong button. Are what I'm terrible at. I'm just going to tell you the truth. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be scary. I would be lying if I said that I'm not concerned. I would be lying if I said that that I'm not concerned for me, for my kids, for my wife, for my students, as well as my personal kids. But I think that what we do is special, and I think that what we can do and offer to our kids completely egotistically is the best thing, in that we're giving them an opportunity to do something that they hopefully at least like, if not love, and build on that. And I think that our job as teachers this year is going to be more support than we've done in the past. I think it's going to be more, I don't know what a hug looks like this year, but it's going to be more hugs. In baseball now, they don't give high fives, they kick each other's cleats, which I thought was pretty cool, but would be weird in the hallways. But I think that's going to be our job this year, more than it has been in the past. And then the answer is Free Willy theme song. Anybody remember it? You are not alone. There are 46 people on this call. There are over 100 video production teachers in the state. There are thousands of video production teachers in the country, and we're all going through the same thing. And I think it's important that though Carol is in Lamar County, where she's the only video production teacher for a couple of miles, and Robert and Mel, and wherever you are. I mean, I think of some of these people where it's like 2 hours before they can get to the next town. You're not alone. So that same digital thing that we're running from and not really enjoying, we can use as our tools for sanity. And I think that's super important to remember, because it's very easy to get trapped in your silo and not come out. So, all right, now open it up for Q&A. Got about 30 or so minutes. No rules, just right. Whatever questions you guys have, I will do my best to answer, at least giving the best advice I can, and lean on the crowd here to help with that. So open it up to any questions, comments, concerns, complaints.
One of the things I'm going to ask my administration is that in Cobb County, what we're going to do is the kids or the parents are going to choose. Either you're going to go to school for the semester, or you're going to be at home for the semester. You're not going to flip back and forth, like, today I just don't feel like going in or whatever. So what I'm hoping for, what I'm thinking I'm going to try anyway, is to Zoom my live classroom, and my kids are going to have a schedule at home anyway. So if you're signed up for period 2 to have me for period 2, during that time, you should be on Zoom participating, at least in the lecture portion of it, before I release for the projects and what have you. Is anybody else going to be trying that, or has anybody else tried that way?
I will be streaming my class as well. Might as well just get both of them at the same time instead of having to redo something for your online students. So they'll get the same content.
That's what I'm thinking. Plus, they get to see the other students and what have you, and get some interaction through that way, or get some ideas, because they may not, clearly they're not going to have the same gear and equipment. So when they come up with questions, maybe they can help each other, as opposed to myself just constantly giving the answer to that.
And Bill, with your focus on live stuff that you do, it's a great opportunity to put a camera in a kid's hand to follow you as you pace the floor.
Yeah, that's the other part I was asking. Plus, I was going to get with you on the NDI side of it too, to see if I can funnel this through my my TriCaster.
Absolutely, it's relatively easy. Yeah, what we're going to do this year, we have the cameras built into the ceiling, and we have to wear the little necklace microphone thing. I'm just going to dump those, and that way it's done. And it is what it is. And I can split screen and show my screen for wow, that's intelligent. Mm-hmm. I can show my screen as well as the video, so they can get that from there. So, Carol, you got something?
Well, we're pretty much been pushed back to August the 12th. We have to report on the 23rd of July. There is going to be a board meeting on the 20th, and then they're going to communicate to us again on the 21st of July to let us know what the plan is. They're in the process of doing 2 surveys right now, one for parents and students, and then the other is the teacher one. My biggest thing, since there's so much I don't know right now, I'm thinking kind of the way you guys were thinking about kind of suggesting that I do it at the same time. So I teach it, face to face, but at the same time during that period, the students, it just makes sense to me that the students would be on. Then I think there's going to be less confusion when it comes to, say, the healthcare teacher down the hallway setting it up at the same time that I set it up, instead of when they're scheduled to have it, so to speak. So yeah, there's still a lot we don't know, but I'm trying to think in terms that will make it less laborious.
Yeah.
And trying to triple, duplicate my, not duplicate, put myself in all these different places at the same time, which is nuts.
What I found when I flipped my classroom the first time, in my 3rd or 4th year teaching, was that I could teach a lesson in 15 minutes. That if I did it in the classroom took 45. So if I can get a kid to commit to 15 minutes outside of class, that gives me however much 90 minutes in class to where we can do the fun stuff.
Mhm.
So that's kind of my approach. And then you can, again with that, you can just say, okay, digital folks, there it is. Our system is putting us, so I will teach and I won't have to do the online. I've asked them if I can do the online because everything online is not broadcast. So I want to make sure that if they come into AVTF 2 or 3, whatever their next year is, that I can, that they're up to speed. I mean, not, I don't necessarily need set dressings for video production. They don't need to know what Crafty is to make a news show.
Okay.
I've got a question. I'm at APS at North Atlanta with Alfred. I was just curious. So we're fully online for the first 9 weeks. Curious, with most of school districts in Georgia having a blended model, how are you guys helping out administration with videos and other things they need from you guys, while also kind of not overextending themselves?
Well, don't ask Tom that because that's how he lives. So
Yeah, I know.
is the epitome of overextending.
Time out, Bill. I do it all at home. I do it here. You're all over the country, so it's.
I'm going in next week to work with our admin on. They want to give a talk to the school, and the student council wants to give a virtual tour since we can't give, our normal open house kind of tours to our rising freshmen. So we will all probably be doing little things like that, hopefully before we get into the full swing of trying to teach and do those things. So it'll be before school starts, but I'm headed in next week to work on stuff like that.
Ben, I echoing what Bill said, I do overcommit. I'll admit it. It is probably my biggest flaw, but I have no problem saying no whatsoever. The week after T&I, our superintendent wanted us to come in and he went from being our superintendent to being the national FFA advisor, and they did all of their conferences virtual, and he wanted to come in and do 10 or 12 videos that week. I told him I was going on vacation. So we pushed it back a week. But that's how I protect myself is I let my principal here knows that I'm going to say no to things that I can't or won't do. So that's how I protect myself. The other thing, if you have kids who are talented enough to do it, employ them to do it. Make that their project for your class is to do those things. I did that with some of my upper level kids last year, and it kept me from having to do a video about what was it? It was about the new hand sanitizer stations. I don't want to do that, so I gave it to a kid to do.
Nice. My wife gives birth 2 days after we start back with the students, so I'm kind of like.
Yeah, you should not be here now. You should be filming your lessons, bro. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I can't wait to see what you look like at week 8.5. 2-3 hours of sleep a night. I can't wait to see what that looks like. Yeah, Melanie put in here work-based learning interns. Absolutely. That is a great use of work-based learning, kids, are those administration things that you don't necessarily want to do or can't do because of time. I mean, we're about to hit a new era in our era. I miss baseball.
Gotcha.
Hit a new era in our lives where we're going to do a lot more online stuff. So if you can, that's a great way to build your work-based learning program, especially if you're in a remote place. Have them work for you to create those things for the county or for your school. And your school system should appreciate that because that gives them some of those magic CCRPI LMNOP points.
Just a quick tip that I've learned last semester, probably better than I have done in the past 10 years of teaching. Get your parents on your side early and often. One of the things I committed to doing was to put out a little video update, and I did it all on my phone using Adobe Spark, so I can teach my kids how to use that, and I just use that as my way to do it. But it was just a quick, hey, here's what we're doing this week, here's what's coming up and due, here are the opportunities out there, and I had more support from the parents, not just from saying my Johnny's going to stay in front of your class, but how can I help? What do you need? You need wipes, you need this, you need that. They're awesome. And I'm just starting to get emails now going, you're going to keep doing that. And here's some other ways, you know, if you could, that'd be ideal. But you can get your parents on your side. That'll help out tremendously.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I talk about administration, but the community, I mean, that's what kept me afloat. That's what kept me sane, was doing stuff for the community during COVID. I mean, it really did. And Adobe Spark, I didn't mention it. I should have. Listen, it's simple. It's easy to use. You should definitely check that out if you're looking to for something simple for your kids to use.
Hey, Daniel, do you know if Cobb County's if they're gonna be doing that with Adobe? I don't know if Adobe's continued to extend that out with their licenses or not. I know last semester they did, but I don't know if that'll be continued.
Daniel, you're muted. I think on your end. Nope.
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 Charlie Brown. Wah, wah, wah.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Okay. Other questions?
Does anyone have a finger on the pulse as far as sports and activities? Anybody heard anything? Because I'm still in charge of like one act and literary, and that's like intense. So I have no idea what's coming.
No.
Yeah, just like, I haven't heard anything from anyone about any of it, so I'm kind of.
Yesterday, the AJC posted that of the 400 schools, 460 whatever schools, that 90 had reported COVID cases in athletics. Yeah. So yeah, I again, I'm trying to remain hopeful. I really am. I'm trying to be as much of a ray of sunshine as I can be, but at the same time, you know, I don't know. I'm planning on it happening. I'm praying for it to happen because I need athletics for my sanity. And my daughter told me last night, it'll be weird if you're home every Friday night. So apparently I can't come home on Friday nights.
Tom, what do you think about the NFHS deal they got out right now?
The 2 pixel deal?
Yeah.
I should have dug into it. I knew it was coming. I talked to Lauren Scherer, their marketing person. Let me pull that email. For those of you who don't know, the NFHS network posted last week that they're doing up to 2 free pixelots for a school, now I will tell you that there's caveats in there, that there's going to be a long-term, I believe it's 5 years. You have to pay for the installation. But that said, you get a rev share. You can do some sponsorship stuff. It's a pretty good deal. I have 1 here and installed. I have 2 more that we purchased at the end of the year that COVID. I'm going to have 1. So I'll have 1 in my high school gym, 1 in my middle school gym, and 1 in our football stadium, which will cover high school football, middle school football, both high school, middle school, soccer, rugby, and they're talking maybe lacrosse. I also do volleyball with it. We do our cheerleading competitions with them. I like it. Is it the greatest thing ever? No. Will it make the same mistakes that a high school kid makes? Yes. There are going to be times it's going to lose the ball. There are going to be times that it's out of focus, things like that. But for the most part, I mean, listen, for me to not have to do a junior varsity girls volleyball match, I'm down. I would buy 5 of them. Not bashing volleyball. Sorry, Marlena, don't kill me. But junior varsity sports, I just can't. Their deal, I believe it's 5 years. You commit to every event in that venue. So if it's your basketball arena, so it's basketball, it's your volleyball, it's cheerleading if you have that, it's any varsity, any high school sport that happens, you broadcast. Now, I do know that inside of that, if you build your program, so you go from not having a program that does broadcasts to a program that does broadcasts, as long as you're broadcasting it, they don't care. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a pixelized show. I like it because if I'm training a kid on how to do play-by-play in color, I just plug in a sorry, Marlena in the chat. I just plug in a cable and I can run a mixer and we're online and they can broadcast a game live and have it out there. The network makes their money on subscriptions, but they have some annual packages that they can buy, and the more you sell, the more money you make, kind of that deal. You make your money on sponsorships as well as that rev share money. So I got into a pretty heated discussion in a Facebook group about it. I think it's a great tool. Is it something to replace a video production program? Expletively, no. So, but Robert, for someone like you who you're going to try to cover as much as you can, it's a great tool. That's why I love it. I no longer have to decide between, am I going to cover the volleyball match and softball? I can go do softball and the camera will cover volleyball for me. So, I'm looking to raise enough money to buy 1 more or 2 more, 1 for baseball, 1 for softball. So literally, all of my bases would be covered. And coaching. There's an app. There's the NFHS Playbook app that coaches. Is it Playbook? Yes. So the coach in the venue can film practice. They cue practice. They literally, like my basketball coaches, pull out their phone. They go, we're starting practice in 15 minutes. They start the recording. They can, during practice, have one of their kids, not a player, manager, that's the word I'm looking for, mark practice. So they can say 3-on-3 drill or whatever, and they can mark it and it records those flags. The coaches can go back and watch it on their computers later. They can watch it on their phones. They can share clips. They can do all of that. So it's a great tool. I'm super excited to get those other 2 installed and take some more load off. So that was a really long answer. I agree with Bill. It will not replace, but unfortunately, and that was a part of the conversation that I had with them the other day, based off of that Facebook conversation, is they were marketing it as no humans needed. And I'm like, guys, you can't do that. not in a time where every sports-based video production person in the world is unemployed. You can't do that. Yeah. But I do think it's a good opportunity for schools. I mean, there's a reason that Cobb County bought 2 for every building, right? Is that what happened, Bill or Daniel? You're muted, Bill. Unmute. You're muted, Bill. There you go.
Yeah, Cobb County bought 2 for each school. I've got 1 in the gym, 1 out in the field. And if I've got kids there, I will actually do a dual stream, because you can do that. I can schedule the pixel out and let that run in case something happens with my live one, so they can still go to it. It's 2 different links. But yeah, it's always running. Works pretty good. Sometimes the ball gets ahead of the play, so the touchdown is scored and the celebrations happen before the camera catches up to it. But sometimes it makes my kids look good, so that helps.
Yeah. It does make a produced show look a lot better. It ties into the scoreboard, so you have real time, you have real score. you just need internet connection, and there's some some IT stuff that you got to hop through because they need constant access to it. They're testing them this week across the country to make sure that they're in better focus and add some firmware updates and that kind of stuff. So literally it for us is completely hands off if you want it to be. So it is nice to get an alert on my phone that goes, you're broadcasting. So it's nice. Other questions?
How are we doing? How's everybody going to be handling the equipment and gear stuff? Obviously, in school, kids will have access to what we have to offer compared to what at home. As Tom said, keep your expectations more in line or be flexible with that kind of stuff. But clearly, in school, while it's open anyway, we'll certainly have a better advantage for that.
I'm not going to let any of my stuff leave. Usually I'll check out a camera for a kid overnight. I'm not going to do that this year. Because imagine if I'd sent a kid home on March 12th with a camera.
A senior.
Yeah. Pasha says he did that.
I actually did. I had a lot of equipment checked out, and I was so scared I wasn't going to get it back because it was all new. I got everything back but a plug, and that was it, a charger. So I was like, thank you, God. Saved me a lot of money.
All right, that's a note for myself.
David Sharp asks, hey, David, thanks for joining us, new Avtf teacher. Good resources to prepare kids for the Skills USA exams. Learnerpower.com. I'll just put you there. There's Quizlets. There's the blueprint that you can go and find that'll help you. But pushing back to Pasha, that could be a heck of a resource for you in your first year. I believe, Pasha, you have a kind of a map where it's where you show the alignments. Pasha's nodding yes. So that's a good place, learnerpower.com there. David, if you don't mind, tell us where you are.
Hello. So I'm I teach at Lakeside High School in DeKalb.
Okay. Excellent.
This is my technically second year, but I came on very late in the first year. So.
Gotcha. Excellent. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
By the way, Tim Elliott just messaged me and wanted to thank all of you guys for being here. He may still be in the meeting, and wanted to let you know Tim is our rep. He is our, I don't remember his title. He's our guy at the DOE at the state. Really super awesome dude. Really, really good dude. Make sure you're on the Facebook page. Yeah, anybody who's not on the Georgia video, I should just change the name. It's no longer just Georgia. The Georgia Video Teachers Facebook page, you should definitely be there. That's where a lot of content is shared, and is a lot of problems get solved there. Any other questions?
Yeah, Tom, I got a real quick question.
Yes, sir.
I've been trying for maybe the last year to get contacts for business-wise for for my students. I'm in Athens. The nearest place where they have television stations, stuff like that, is Atlanta. That's an hour and a half away. Do you have any ideas on how I can go about getting more businesses interested as far as the Athens area, as far as for my advisory stuff like that?
Virtual. I don't know that I'll ever host another live advisory council meeting because I'm in Morgan County, so I'm south of you. There's nothing. I don't even have. I have a relationship at UGA, and I can't get them to come, and it's what, 35 minutes.
Yep. I had somebody, the guy that actually did the football games, but I want to give them more options than like I need like a makeup artist, or I want to give them more options dealing with video rather than just taping.
Yeah, LinkedIn is where I farm most of my contacts now. That is, if I'm thinking of something in particular, I literally will just, I see your comment, Tux. I'll get that. I will just go on LinkedIn and go makeup artist and see who's in the area. And I've been surprised time and time again. That's how I've gotten a lot of my contacts at the colleges, is just through that. Tuck posted, I don't know if you saw it, Society of Camera Operators magazine. It's free at the time, soc.org/magazine. Pasha, that's the Facebook group. What head? So, sorry, Tad. I don't know. Audio Technica. It's the BPH 100. Churches are definitely good resources. I did an install with Philip Green from Amatrace the other day at a church in Conyers. They're running a full TriCaster with 4 cameras and a whole bunch of different stuff. And my church is doing a full out production studio with multiple switchers and live screens and all of that stuff. So churches are definitely a good place. And right now, video people are in demand. There are the skills that we have to offer, especially if you know how to stream. Everybody wants it right now. With everything shutting down and everyone, the church that we did the install the other day, they've been working for 3 years trying to get a video program up, and it was, $500, or we'll give you $150 for this or that. COVID happened, they found 20 grand, just like that. So yeah, it happens. But yeah, Michael, to definitely just LinkedIn, and then just, I used to be like, oh, I'm just a lowly video teacher. But then I said, what's the worst that happens? They say no and laugh at me behind my back. I won't know. So shoot them a message, go, hey, here's what I'm doing. One thing I will tell you that, and I haven't done it for this school, but come up with a marketing deck for what your program is, what your school is, that you can just send to people. Hey, here's what we are. Here's what we do. And, I'd love to have your help and your input. So,
Okay.
that could be an advanced students project, take some video, some stuff together.
One more real quick question. Do you know if Film Academy does tours? I went there about 3-4 years ago to do a training, and I was trying to get, we walked past the makeup artist's office, and I couldn't leave once I looked in the door and saw all the masks and all the stuff he had in there. I would love to get somebody from there to come and speak to the students or do a tour or something. But, either I get no answer, or, they don't do tours. They don't. And I understand it's a movie studio. I got that. But I'm just talking about, like with the makeup artist, like with, a production assistant, somebody like that.
I just sent Josh a
they
text.
do that?
I just sent him a text. He may respond, he may not. I can't imagine that they wouldn't do something like that, because for them it's a recruiting tool. So, but we'll see if he responds in the next couple of minutes.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy, anytime. Anything else? Anybody else? Sorry, Thad. I just saw that your thing was sent privately instead of, public. So sorry for putting it out there like that. Yeah, it's the Audio Technica BPH 100. It's our play-by-play mics. They're the best. Easy to not break, even for kids. Cool. No, anybody else? All right. Well, Josh said earlier to email him about tours from Melanie. There you go. So, yeah, you can email Josh Lee. Let me get his email address. Isn't it a shame that, like, I couldn't tell you anybody's number or email address without my phone? It's joshua.lee, Lee, @usg.edu. And he is, he's over Georgia Film Academy, and he can point you in the right direction.
All right. Appreciate that, man.
Mm-hmm. All right. Again, guys, gals, it's going to be a tough year. It's going to be a different year. It's going to be stressful, but definitely create a community. You got one here. You can email me anytime. I think I've emailed everybody. If not, I'm going to in just a minute once I get the final roster. But unplug, take some time off, quit watching the news. And if you do watch it with cynical eyes like I do. It's always fun. to go, oh, wait, you're not telling the whole story. But again, thank you guys so much for your time, and don't hesitate to email me anytime you need. Join the Facebook group if you haven't already, and enjoy the rest of Gacte. I only have one more session tomorrow morning at like 10, I think. So, yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, Melanie. Thank you. Bill, I will email everyone and ask if I can email everyone. That makes sense. I don't know how many people registered as personal emails or not, but I will do that. Bill asked if we could share email addresses, but when I email, I just need to make a database. I'll do that. I'll figure that out in a minute. But definitely unplug, take care of yourself, protect yourself, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And yeah, let me see if I can figure out how to stop the recording now, because I got my screens all jacked up. So thank you guys again. Let's see. And I'll hang
You
around.
guys take care.
I'll hang
See
around
ya.
if anybody has any questions or anything.